cultural, community and volunteer support services. I'm very interested in what is in the other initiatives, because although this minister probably doesn't, well, okay, here's a little historical vignette. There's a couple of people on your side that I know will have been around long enough to know what this was. But this amount of money, at one time I got the minister to admit that there was no application form for other initiatives, there was no deadline for other initiatives, and the decision was exclusively by the minister. There was no appeal process. It was essentially a slush fund. So I'm wondering what exactly is in other initiatives this year, and it has been cut by quite a bit. It was the actual for 09-10 was 10.1 million. It was budgeted for 6.5, but actually looks like 10.6 was spent in the 10-11 year, and whoa, massive cut to 4.1 million. So it's losing about $6.5 million out of other initiatives. Now I know that's going to go up and down with how much money is extra there, but if he could please tell me what he spent it on this year and what is the list of initiatives he's expecting to spend it on last year. He did give me a list last year. And where can we find the final reports of what was funded through other initiatives last year? So we know what those are. The Wild Rose Foundation, I'm a little quizzical about this, because this is in the estimates on page 98. And it appears to have a very high amount of money with sort of no backup for it. And I'm wondering if you can explain that, because it has no form of revenue particularly. So where is the investment supposed to come from? It's actually up 325% from 09-10. So exactly where's that going to come from? I would appreciate it if I could get that comment. That's terrific. Thank you. Further to the what's happening in the NGO volunteer-based sector, I was going through the newsletter from the Calgary Chamber of Voluntary Organizations, and this goes back to that capacity issue that I keep raising. But if you look on page 3 of their newsletter, they show a graph that shows the change in government policies or priorities was 58% of the factors impacting voluntary organizations. So huge effect on those organizations. As well, we're still struggling in the voluntary sector, voluntary charitable sector, with the difference in salaries between what the comparable position is paid on through the government, if they were on the government payroll as a social worker, versus being a social worker with foster parents or something like that. And in this one, it's a newspaper article of a woman who works for the Bow Cliff Senior Centre. Yeah, we can't just magically get it done on these salaries with this expectation of professionalism, because she keeps getting people wooed away. So that continues to be a factor for us in this area. I'm moving on to heritage now. What action has the ministry taken? There was a cut in the heritage. And what action has the ministry taken to ensure that the ministry sites don't degrade to the point where we're in the same position that we are currently with infrastructure, where there's had to be a huge influx of money to make up for what wasn't put in there on a regular maintenance basis? So what is the minister doing there to help under heritage? And finally, the Royal Alberta Museum. What the heck is going on there? Who is it that's asking for 2 sites? Because if it was a politician, they would have jumped in front of every camera there was. And nobody's ever jumped in front of a camera saying, I'm the one that's pushing for a second site. So who's pushing for this? This doesn't make sense. We've got a perfectly good site. We own it. There was a good plan. They redid it. There was a second good plan. Now that one seems to have been punted for some reason. Now we're talking about 2 plans. So I'd like a detailed breakdown of how much money the province is going to put in this year, next year, and year 3, how much money the feds are putting in this year, next year, and year 3, and where did this come from? that we are going to build a second site here. And what is the justification for that? What's the business case for it? Because I've never seen anything that backs this up. It's just a bunch of rumor that I asked and asked about. It was denied, 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 and then the minister said, oh yeah, definitely, that's where we're going to go. So let's hear about that. So let's hear about it, Minister. Go for it.
Honourable Minister.
Great questions. First of all, other initiatives. Now, it's quite interesting that you would mention that we're reducing our fund, which you refer to as a slush fund. And I don't think of it as a slush fund. Other initiatives program is set there for those programs, those organizations who can't get money through the regular process. Now, that includes this year, we will have the Canadian Country Music Awards. We will have the Western Canadian Music Awards. And the Canadian Country Music Awards are going to be in Edmonton for 3 consecutive years, so we've committed to that. Two Hills Community Centre, Edmonton Triathlon Academy, $3 million to the Art Gallery of Alberta, somewhat of a worthy cause. Chinese Festival, Chinese event.